school year. My name is Vanessa Zambrano, and I will be your moderator for this discussion with Montgomery College President, Dr. Jermaine Williams. Today's topic is access, building a college-going culture. However, if you have questions about any other topic, that's totally fine as well. This meeting will go on until 3 p.m. or until we have no more questions. I'd like to ask a question. The way to do it is you would use the raise hand feature on Zoom. Tell us your name, where you work at the college. And if you're able to turn on your camera, that would be fantastic because it really adds to a sense of engagement. Otherwise, it's fine, it's not required. If you're feeling a bit shy, you can also put it in the chat. Just make sure that when you put it in the chat, you choose, you direct it to submit question you choose the arrow and you go down there and that's where you submit it. And yes, in that case, also introduce yourself and tell us where you work at the college. We will toggle back and forth between Zoom and previously submitted questions. Make sure if you're typing anything, if you have your hand raised, just be patient. We will do our best to get to absolutely all the questions. If there's anything that has already been answered, we will skip over that one. So with all of that said, I will turn it over to Dr. Williams for his opening remarks.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you so very, very much, Vanessa. It is great to be with everyone here today. I see that we have well over 100 individuals who are here with us, and I know some of you are engaging in viewing parties. So I appreciate that. I hope you have some popcorn or some other tasty treats because we're coming to you live and direct, as you heard from the first town hall of the year, and we're really excited to get it kicked off. So again, thank you for joining for the first town hall of the year. And our first virtual one outside of the pandemic situation. So this is a big deal for us. We want to see how it goes, and we want to hear from you. But it is, again, great to see everyone. So happy to be with this terrific group. And some of you, I see you regularly, and it is great to see you today. And to individuals who perhaps we have not met, we haven't engaged, I'm very happy that you are here. Town halls are such a great way to stay connected. And these meetings are also a way to ask about topics that are important to us as our community, important to you, important to me, important to everyone here. That's why I'm here. That's why I've asked members of senior leadership team to join, who may help me with some questions. And that's why we're all here, right? To discuss the topics that are important to us. For now, and before we jump into some questions, I do want to share, because I'm so proud of our community, some of the great work the college has been engaged in since the start of the semester. And today, as you know, we're the second day of our fourth week of the fall semester. And I'm happy to say that the academic year has started extremely strong. I saw it myself when I visited each of the campuses where I engaged with excited students and where it was so evident that faculty and staff had just rolled out the welcome mat as you always do for our students on the first day and every day after. And it was just a great example of our dedication to inclusion and belonging. It was just excited to be part of that on all the campuses and throughout the first weekend and throughout the last several weeks. So this semester, you see, speaking of starting off strong, we're seeing the number of our credit students who are enrolled at the college up almost 4% as of today, high 3% over this time last year. So credit students, they're also taking more classes compared to last year. So we have more students and they're taking more credits, which is fantastic. And I think it just foreshadows the big year that we have in store. And when we think about that big year, and every year is a big year, I do know that, I recognize that. When we think about this year and the first year implementing our new strategic plan that is currently up and running, I just want to share with you some of the recent examples I saw as navigating the college and as we're moving towards the strategic plan goals. And this is just in the last few weeks. So I'm going to go through these 4 goals very quickly. But when we think about enhancing connections between MC and our community. This was so evident when, looking at the Ignite Hub, which celebrated its Montgomery Can Code partnership. I also saw it in recent meeting with stakeholders of the Presidential Scholars Program, and at the kickoff celebration for Hispanic Heritage Month just last week, which brought in many community members, business members, elected officials, students, of course, our awesome faculty and staff as well. And it was also present at the Nonprofit Leadership Institute gathering last week, which brought together dozens, again, of elected officials and nonprofit leaders and faculty and staff as well to the Germantown campus. Right? And then our second goal, we think about cultivating a sense of belonging for everyone at the college, and this really resonating when we think about all the student welcome events, orientations, the You Belong Here campaign. The energy around belonging has been powerful in these first couple of weeks. You can also see this in a student parent initiative, which recently was awarded $25,000 to enhance its inclusion of student parents. And that's part of the official Family U seal. And MC was also chosen as an exemplar institution. We also see this building a sense of belonging in the college's recent ranking by Wallet Hub as 7th in the country for international students, right? And I'll give one more example that I just was talking with someone just last week, and shared with me that we have, in terms of biology support, we have not one, not two, but 3 biology faculty members who are providing support in different languages, right? Spanish, French, Amharic, right? The passion around building that sense of belonging is truly evident and has been for so long, and we're just continuing to move forward. When we think about the third goal of our strategic plan, enhancing educational and organizational effectiveness, this was recently showcased at the Data Summit, right? The elite workshops and leadership training opportunities for faculty and staff. Also, we're actively assessing how to increase effectiveness in instruction and in student-centered services. And our final goal, our fourth goal of our strategic plan, increasing economic impact for our students and our community. And a few of the things that come to mind when we think about that, our movement on the East County Education Center and that continuing. We're building stronger non-credit to credit pathways and vice versa. And experiential learning opportunities are growing. All of these, they prepare our students to have a deeper impact on our community. So when we think about all these areas and how they complement one another and strengthen our mission and help to ensure that Montgomery College is where students discover their passions and unlock their potential to transform lives, enrich the community, and change the world. Transform lives, enrich the community, and change the world. I really hope that sounds familiar to everyone. And if it doesn't, it will soon. That is our mission here at Montgomery College. And each of you has a unique role in helping to achieve our mission, in helping to advance our strategic plan. And in these past couple of weeks, I've seen the energy and dedication around our mission surging as students start new classes and get involved in activities throughout student life and student government and other leadership roles. And it's clearly evident that we are mission focused. And while we are mission focused, you'll hear me talk and you'll hear a lot of people talk about it. And we as a community will talk about our transformational aspirations. These aspirations that should always be in our sights, right? Access, completion, and post-completion success. How we equitably enhance all of these, right? As we create a college-going culture in the county, all students will have an experience of economic, social, and community impact. Ultimately, transformed lives will result, right? With enhanced individual economic and social mobility that lead to intergenerational mobility, where individuals contribute to the public good and are civically engaged. So so exciting. Um, Everything that we're doing at Montgomery College. And I'm just so exhilarated and truly humbled to be here and partner with everyone as we continue our journey to build on our successes and identify new successes. And that brings us to the focus of today's gathering, right? Access, right? Access is a broad term and it touches on so many areas of life at the college. And I'll mention just a few of the questions we can pose about access. Where does the college serve its communities, right? You can think about the expansion of, East County Education Center, right? Is the college affordable? Affordability is a must. And through advocacy and scholarships and financial aid, we can ensure that we maintain affordability. Does every student know what financial supports are available? Does every resident know about all of the opportunities, right? Montgomery can code, dual enrollment, credit for prior learning, ACEs, ATPA, embedded coaching. And finally, can all of our students access information about the college in an environment that's comfortable for them, right? In an area that is conducive to not only them, but to their supporters, right? Their influencers, whether that's a preferred language, whether that's in their neighborhood, whether that's speaking to a way that's culturally appropriate, right? Do the students and the residents we seek to serve, do they have the ability to access information about the college in a way that they can absorb it, that they can consume it, right? That illustrates that they belong here at Montgomery College. And these are big questions, I know, huge questions, and they all fall under the category of access and building a college-going culture in the county. So I'll end with these few points around this access component of our transformational aspirations. And as we seek, over the next 10 years to get students and their families connected to the college before 7th grade, right? Getting more MCPS students to take at least one course at MC by the time they graduate, right? At least half of the students, drawing more MCPS grads to the college, right? With a goal of 40% from high schools. So these are our transformational components of the transformational aspiration of access. How can we enhance this? How can we move forward in an equitable and data-informed way? That is what we're focusing on today. With that said, please, whatever question is important to you, it is important to us. So please ask whatever is on your mind, and we will definitely respond and do our best to answer the questions. So at this point in time, I will turn it back over to you, Vanessa. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Williams. We are now open for questions. Remember to raise your hand on Zoom and turn on your camera if you're able to tell us who you are, where you work at the college. If you're feeling a little bit more shy, remember that you can also put it in the chat directed to submit questions, and that will go back and forth between questions on Zoom and previously submitted questions. While you all think about your questions, we do have one that was sent to us via email previously. It is from Mr. Marcus Pinard. He's the interim college-wide dean of student access and Germantown Student Affairs. And his question is, where do plans stand for opening the doors to the East County Education Center and expanding access in that part of the county?
Wow. Thank you for sharing that question, Vanessa and Marcus. Thank you for asking that question. I can visualize you in your MC purple right now, sporting it proudly. So and absolutely, East County Education Center and moving into East County is extremely important, and so many people are working on that. Where we stand right now is being as aggressive as we can possibly be in order to have our footprint in East County with the East County Education Center. With the situation is we are currently under construction and experiencing, like so many others who are under construction, supply chain delays, right? And with that said, we have an anticipated opening for ECEC beginning of April 2024. And I actually will turn it over to Mr. Sherwin Collette to add any additional information.
Yeah. Thank you, Dr. Williams. You certainly hit the point. The construction is proceeding. We are grateful for the partnership with the county executive and his team as we work together to ensure that we make that opening. We'll be soon putting up signage and working with Dr. Campbell and her team to be sure that we market it. And we are concurrently, as we enter into the capital budget work and the facilities planning work, also beginning to take steps around the fourth campus as well. So as Dr. Williams noted, we're on track at this point for the beginning of April opening.
Thank you, Mr. Collette.
Great, thank you both. We have, there's somebody with her hand raised, Stacy Peterson on Zoom. Go ahead.
Good afternoon, Dr. Williams. I'm Stacy Peterson. I'm Department Chair of ELAB Com Studies and Linguistics at Tacoma Park. And the question I have for you is about what are the efforts in place to streamline the application and enrollment process for students and the onboarding process for new students coming to Montgomery College? It's pretty cumbersome the way it is now, and I've often heard you say that you'd like to make that a simpler process. So just kind of wanted to know where we are with that. Thank you.
Absolutely, and thank you so very much. I love your lanyard. I have one just like it. Thank you for being supportive of Safe Zone. Thank you very much, and thank you for that question. Yes, that is extremely important, and actually, I believe that is one of our actually 13 strategies for this year is streamlining that process. We have about 29 supporting strategies underneath the strategic plan, and through a collaborative effort, several of them are identified each year. And I do believe that is one of the 13. They're not up in front of me. I should have them fully memorized. I am going to engage Dr. McNair in a moment, but what I will share is as well before that is that multiple people have expressed the same sentiment, and it is something that we are working on. We know that we need to streamline it, and I know that we are actually reaching out internally, right, to individuals who are helping our students. I was actually having a conversation down at Tacoma Park, Silver Spring, with individuals who help students who are sharing with me. It wasn't you, just so for everyone watching. I know it wasn't you, and you do, but for everyone watching, with other folks who are saying, "Wow, there are definitely some updates we can make that would make this smoother for our students." So the voices are being heard. We're also engaging external constituents who we know engage with the college, people and organizations like College Tracks, because they're helping students go through the process. So this is a kind of a multifaceted approach to trying to enhance our enrollment process and really smooth it out, make it student focused. And I will turn it over to Dr. McNair to share some more details.
Sure. Hi, Stacy and everyone else. Thank you for the question. So you're right. We have to do a lot of work in terms of streamlining our processes. And I want to point out that a lot of people may say, oh, we just need the right tool, but the tool is just that. It's a tool. So one of the things that we will be working on, and part of it is in terms of the enrollment management plan, is how we reach students, how we reach them earlier, and how we reach them more frequently in the enrollment processes. So there are plans to implement a CRM, but until that solution is fully optimized, we will be doing more in terms of specific outreach to students and massaging them through the admission cycle and the enrollment pipeline. And that will include different types of communications with them because they need to be able to move through this step as seamlessly as possible. We do have, for example, for students who apply, we did implement an admitted student webpage. So that becomes a central point of information that any student, a parent, a community member, or even a staff member at the college can also visit that site. And then students can find out where they need to do. So it's a way to help keep them informed. So we know we have some inroads that we need to make in terms of policies, our practices, as well as the technological solutions that help us to also do that more seamlessly.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. McNair. Thank you very much, Stacy.
Thank you. So we have another question that was previously submitted by Lori Ulrich. And the question is, can't get a good answer from facilities and people are still getting stuck on elevators. People stuck in one working elevator in SV, as I write, in the newest building at MC. The only elevator in the TC building has been out for weeks, but we are told that we are technically compliant. Ground floor entrance on one end and ramp on the other. Tell that to the student who uses a walker and has to go around to the other side of the building and up a ramp in the rain. Does technically compliant mean that we do not have to fix elevators?
Thank you, Vanessa, and thank you, Lori. I don't know if you are with us today, but thank you very much for asking this question. So I'll get to the last part of that. Does technically compliant mean that we do not have to fix elevators? And to that, I would share that elevators are extremely essential, and we are working to get these elevators fixed. I can go into a little more detail in terms of what has been occurring to get the elevators fixed, and I'll engage Mr. Collette as well. I will share that this is something that we all experience, and we all are aware of it and aware of how it impacts students. And while we teach students a lot at Montgomery College, I would say that it's not really not our intention to think about how we teach students how to strategize, how to get to class on time because only one of two elevators is working, right? Which is what I see in Rockville Student Services Center with one elevator, and students are getting on at the third floor to go up to the fourth floor to get back down to the first floor because they're too concerned that there might be a bunch of people on the fourth floor getting on. They won't be able to catch it on the way back down. I share that to acknowledge further that we recognize that this is an issue. We recognize that it is impacting our students, our faculty, and our staff, and that there are several people who are working towards a solution. And while that solution is not coming as fast as anybody who is working on it would like it to occur, there are people who are diligently working on this, recognizing that it is an issue. Facilities procurement and public safety teams, they are aware of the problems, and they've been, as I said, they've been working actually with multiple contractors to bring all elevators back online. And because of some contract performance deficiencies, the original elevator contract, that the vendor's contract, it was actually terminated. So there's a level of other contractors have been engaged. So I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Collette to provide some more detail, but please know that we are aware that this is important and many people are working on getting this addressed.
Thank you, Dr. Williams. And as you noted, it's important to begin by saying we don't accept a technical solution or it being technically okay. And so I personally regret and apologize for the delays. We are at this moment specifically related to the Rockville Student Services Building, awaiting parts from California. I would hop a plane tomorrow or this afternoon if it would get it here faster. But unfortunately, we are at the mercy of the distribution. Please know that we are taking all trees possible. As Dr. Williams indicated, we had already terminated one vendor for performance issues. We will certainly, across facilities, public safety, my office, be working very diligently to monitor all aspects of this. Procurement is involved as well, and we will get the elevators back online, and we will be better around ensuring their continued operations.
Thank you, Mr. Collette.
Thank you so much. So while we wait for more questions, just a quick reminder that you can raise your hand, you can submit it, and just make sure that it goes to submit question when you go into the chat. Let me double check over here if we have any previously submitted questions or anything else. Okay, so we have some questions that have been circulating, and this might be a good time to address them. There continues to be a lot of talk within higher education about ChatGPT and students using it to submit work. What is the college doing to address these concerns?
Oh. Thank you. I'd make sure that I was not still on mute. Thank you very much, Vanessa. And it's interesting. We all talk about, and thank you for the question, whomever asked the question. And yes, it is a huge concern. And like so many people here, probably not everyone, I've been reading a lot about it. I know, and I find comfort in the fact that I believe as of last semester, our faculty were talking about it in the appropriate circles to raise up a potential, I don't want to say solution, it makes it sound like there's an answer, but a potential path forward as we navigate together and what that could look like. So I wanted to share that, but it is something that is changing the way in which we interact, not only with each other, but with our students and everyone else. So I did want to turn it over to Dr. Fector for a moment and have her share any thoughts on this. But again, I would want to share prior to Dr. Fector sharing that I know this is a conversation occurring not only in faculty circles, but in staff circles. Everyone at the college is thinking about how AI is impacting what we do at the college, who we are, who we strive to be. And I'll turn it over to Dr. Fector to share more thoughts.
Thank you, Dr. Williams. This has been a hot topic ever since late fall last year. I think people will recall. AI is changing rapidly. MC is trying to stay on top of this and keep up. So we have begun to offer workshops, very thoughtful workshops and conversations surrounding this particular topic. There's been quite a number of professional development opportunities. In fact, we've had about 200 participants already this year in some of our discussions. For those of you who are plugged into your national organizations at all, it is on a topic on every single national and international conference right now. I do think that what we're seeing in the environment is a will to utilize this as a tool to stay on top of it and to see what we can do with this in terms of our pedagogy. We have guidelines working their way through faculty council locally and on our campuses. And ELITE is planning to partner with Student Life to have offerings for students. If you have not taken a look at the really insightful and prescient topics that ELITE has offered for us to think about this, it's pretty interesting. We use ChatGPT to save time. Who isn't in favor of that? General open discussions, using ChatGPT to support student learning. How to use ChatGPT ethically and with respect. And more open discussions. So I want to congratulate our partners in ELITE for staying on top of this and for offering these insightful sessions. If you have ideas about further sessions to offer or ways to apply these to particular disciplines, please do contact Dr. Mike Mills or Dr. Paul Miller or me. Happy to discuss it. It's an exciting, interesting, sometimes frightening time, but thank you for the question.
Thank you, Dr. Fector, and I agree. Exciting, interesting, and sometimes frightening time. And I would add to what you shared and just amplify kind of what I heard you share is let's take this form of disruptive innovation, right, and let's embrace it and identify how we can leverage it to help us achieve our goals, right, in a data informed and also I'll add equitable way, right? Artificial intelligence is something that is impacting, our students and people in general differently. Not everyone has access to the same level of technology to be able to produce what artificial intelligence can, right? So there's multiple layers to what is occurring, and so I would encourage again that we as an institution, as a community, continue to do what we've always done and what we continue to strive to do, which is lead with equity, lead with compassion and empathy, and strive to advance our college and the students who we serve and the residents we seek to serve. So thank you, Dr. Fector.
Thank you both very much. We have another question from an anonymous person. What part does awareness play in access? As a former MCPS student myself and now an MC employee, I feel like I didn't have any idea what MC had to offer me. I was amazed by the opportunities when I started with all the things MC had. How can we increase the awareness on what MC has to offer within the community?
Thank you, anonymous. I wish I knew who you were. You should email me. It sounds like you maybe have some ideas, and I'd love to be able to hear them and share them with folks. And it resonates. What you shared resonates. I'll share a personal story as you did. Just this past weekend, I was invited and celebrating Rosh Hashanah with some friends, and I was hearing stories about their children and MCPS, and I started to share about some of the wonderful opportunities at Montgomery College, and had people with school-age children, or excuse me, college-age children, or I could say college-age young adults, I guess, look and say, I wish I knew about that when my child was in elementary school, was in middle school, was in high school. So anonymous, please, again, email me, I hope, to, again, know that what you're saying, it resonates. I think, I don't want to say all of us, but I'm sure many of us have experienced that same situation, being out at a grocery store, at a family gathering, where you're sharing your love and your passion, all the opportunity at Montgomery College, and someone says, I didn't know that. So to answer your question, I don't know the nuts and bolts of the how, but I know that there is enough energy and there are tons of smart people at the college and within the community that can help us think of new ways and advance current ways that are impactful, that we can get out and we can reach more people. And I'm really, I invite the folks who are in those places and spaces and hear these conversations to be able to share that information, because I think collectively is one way that we're going to be able to advance. And ideas are really wanted. Ideas are desired. They're very much appreciated. So it's something that we must do. It's something that we endeavor to do. And to your point, and going back initially, the idea of awareness, absolutely, awareness matters. If people aren't aware of something, how would they even know to pursue it, to access it? So, so I hear you, and I know so many of us hear you, and I'll hopefully hear from you via email, and you can share some of your good ideas with me.
Thank you, Dr. Williams. And anonymous, feel free to reach out, right? So we have another question that has also been circulating. It's some bathrooms do not have door opening mechanisms for handicapped students. They have to ask somebody for help getting in and out. Could you comment on that?
That is, thank you for sharing that question, Vanessa. I'd really, for whoever's asking the question, it would be great, and I'll engage Mr. Collette in a minute, but my initial response is, where are these bathrooms? And let's kind of get a locale, let's get a location on these bathrooms. Let's see what they look like. Obviously, we want to make sure our facilities are accessible in a way that is equitable. So if anybody who is circulating that question, has asked that question, is wondering about this, is here now, please share that information with us, and I'll engage Mr. Collette to share a few words if he has additional information to share with the group.
Yes, thank you, Dr. Williams. I would say that in partnership with our colleagues in the compliance office, Mr. Mills, the Vice President of Office of Facility Services, as well. We as the college have undertaken an ADA compliance assessment, which is in addition to things like automatic openers and restrooms, looking at those places and spaces where we can improve and should do better in being ADA compliant. And so now we're moving into the next phase of, and including addressing this matter around the bathrooms that are referenced, looking at developing a corrective action plan, and then certainly budgeting and getting out to attack and address those. So thank you for raising the question. We agree that we need to improve, and certainly as we work to ensure that we are a college community in alignment with our aspirations around Goal 2 and nurturing a culture of belonging, certainly need to ensure that all our disability services support that as well. And so please know that our action steps are going to address those needs.
Thank you so
Mr.
much.
Collette. Yeah.
Great. So as a reminder, you can raise your hand on Zoom or put something in the chat on directed to submit question. We also have Dayana Silva with a question on Zoom. Go ahead, Dayana.
Hello, good afternoon, Dr. Williams. So I'm Dayana. I'm currently a senator, and also I'm a student assistant at the International Student Office. So more than a question, maybe a concern. So what happens is that we have a lot of international students that come for the first time to the college, trying to ask questions about how to register, how to make a change of status, and so on. And it happened one case, which my supervisor, I think, also talked with one of the chairs, that one student was trying to ask for a change of status. They went somehow to the library, and another person that was offering themselves as an employer of MC told them that they can help him with that. But at the end, they were charging the student with money for that. So my question is, how do we protect like students that are trying to come here? They don't really know how Montgomery College works, how this works. Sometimes they don't even handle the language that much.
Thank you very, very much. And actually might follow up with you after this, just for a little more detail in terms of if that happened on one of the college campuses. I had a little, didn't fully understand, but I did understand a lot of the detail there. And what I would say is, thank you, one, for sharing that. Two, that very much hits home, because as I walk around our campuses and I just engage students, and for those of you, here who know, you see me kind of walk around and just talk with people randomly, is I often run into students and I'll ask, hi, how you doing? Like, what's your name? What are you interested in? Why'd you choose Montgomery College? All kinds of random questions. And I would say on a regular basis, I will talk with students and they'll say, well, like, I just got to Montgomery County. And I'll say, oh, okay, just, from where? And an international student. And I'll say, when you say just got here, what do you mean when you shared, I just got here? And they're like, well, I got here last week. I arrived 2 weeks ago. I'm looking to come to Montgomery. I'm like, wow. And I'm just thinking about, okay, so how am I going to now ensure that this student is in the best position possible to be able to achieve the goals that they want to achieve, knowing that they've been in the county and in the continental US for a week, 2 weeks, or 3 weeks, and they're probably navigating, where to live, and, if they're getting a job, and family members, and all healthcare, all of these items. So I'm so glad you brought it up, because it's something that I think about a lot when I talk with students. What I would say in terms of the how, and I'll engage, I think Dr. Gregory is here. I see Dr. Gregory, and also Dr. McNair, so either one. But one thing that really comes to mind is, if we as a college community, if we have, see students in need, and this is something that I do. So please redirect me if I'm doing the wrong thing. If I don't know the answer, I will get that student to Raptor Central. I'll get that student to the Raptor Central that's on the campus where we are, either physically walking them there, that's pretty much usually how I do it. And that is a central location, and get them linked with someone who will be able to give them the appropriate information and or direction if they can't help them immediately. And I would open up to Dr. Gregory or Dr. McNair in terms of any follow-up.
One thing I was going to say is the office that you work in with international students does a lot of work to try to prepare students who are coming from other countries, their experience coming here. That doesn't mean they're greeting every single one of them when they get here, but there's a lot of outreach that goes from that office. But also, when we've experienced this in other offices, I was working in the scholarship office, and someone brought in a brand new student or wanted to be a student. She had literally just arrived days before from Ukraine. So what do I do? Where do I go? They told me that I could be eligible for this and this and this, and getting her connected with resources. Raptor Central is a great place to start, but I also would encourage everyone to familiarize themselves with our social resource program that can provide assistance to anyone. So a place to live, different kind of resources around the county that you might need to connect with, which is a really good thing to be familiar with. So yes, Raptor Central is a great start for enrollment in a lot of different places. We also have other services that are available on campus to help students and get them directed. It is really disturbing to hear that someone was in the library basically poaching our students for a business and trying to get money from them for a service that we provide for free. We'll tell you all of those things. We just need to make sure students know the right place to go. Dr. McNair, I don't know if you wanted to add anything to that.
Yes, thank you. What I would like to add is that I think this also highlights how we have an opportunity to also increase students' sense of belonging. Whether it's they've just arrived, they've been here for a while, the more that all of us are up to date on even just, like was mentioned, taking a student to Raptor Central, knowing what resources are available for students is also a way that we help support our students because they have so many different touch points. You may have known that student through the office, but what if that student happened to also connect with somebody maybe who was through facilities or a faculty member? Just everybody at the institution knowing how to direct students to those resources is also another way to help protect the students, to reassure them and to help them know that, like Dr. Gregory mentioned, we have services, we have resources available to you. So thank you for the question and opportunity to offer some thoughts.
Thank you, Dr. McNair. Thank you, Dr. Gregory. And thank you, Dr. Gregory, for restating what I thought I heard that I wanted to follow up on, because I was like, I thought I heard there's predatory action occurring on one of our college campuses, and I was like, that can't be what I just heard, because I was so dismayed. But in actuality, that is what Diana was saying. And so I would say, just to kind of close out that piece, is if you see something, say something. As community members, there should not be soliciting. There definitely should not be people pursuing in any way that is remotely, seemingly, ostensibly predatory, anyway, engaging with our students, our employees. So if you see something, please say something. Please engage public safety, because that's unacceptable, right? So.
Thank you all. We also received a question from Ann Briggs, Web Services and Communications Librarian, and says, I'm excited to hear about the grants the college received for the student parent initiatives and the focus on supporting this important category of students. is MC considering ways to support employees who are parents as well? In particular, has the college considered implementing paid parental leave? If so, what can you share about this? If not, why not? For such a forward-thinking institution, it's surprising that MC does not offer paid parental leave. This can be detrimental to employees' mental health and ability to be retained by the college.
Well, thank you very much for the question. I am going to transition this to Mr. Collette in a few minutes, because I may need to ask a kind of a clarifying question in terms of the paid parental leave versus kind of FMLA that is available, and I think there's a little bit of a kind of a detail and nuance that I may be missing. But I will say that this is a conversation in terms of, I'm going to talk globally around sense of belonging, right? And when we think about sense of belonging, cultivating a sense of belonging for everyone at the college, it means our employees as well, right? Which means looking at the demographics of our employees, the characteristics of our employees, how our current benefits, which we have some fantastic benefits around educational support and opportunities, how they align, health and wellness, how they align with the needs of both the individuals who we are currently working with, and individuals who we want to attract and retain. So with that said, and there might be again a level of nuance that Mr. Collette is more familiar with in terms of the leave that individuals can take based off of laws and regulations in terms of FMLA and something, and I think maybe talking about additional in terms of parental leave. So I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Collette to probably add a level of clarity that we'll all benefit from.
Certainly, and I will certainly invite Krista Leach-Walker, our Chief Human Resources Officer, to join, correct, add, and enhance what I say. I think I'll just begin by saying that while we do not have a separate parental leave program, we do offer in the different leaves that the college provides very generous options, and it doesn't preclude us from certainly considering this aspect, but it's really important to note that there's some significant benefits available. Krista, if you want to enhance.
I'll give you an A+ for that answer, but I will add that this is something that we've looked at from time to time. I had posed that question when I came into this role, knowing what other institutions are providing. One of the differences that we have is that the level of our short-term disability and our other types of leave that are available are much more extensive. So as we are looking at our leave programs and looking to update some of the provisions of our programs and services, this is one area that we're looking at best practices and may be making some revisions to.
Thank you, Krista. And the last thing I would just add is just please know that the issue of leaves and benefits, as we think about them, we understand how taken together with the overall compensation, there are opportunities for us to distinguish ourselves as an employer and as a destination employer, and certainly how that speaks to the culture we seek to nurture. And as Krista noted, it's certainly something that we'll continue to assess along the way.
Thank you, Mr. Collette, and thank you, Ms. Leach-Walker.
Thank you all. I see a question from Danielle Harris Jr. on Zoom.
Hey, good afternoon, Dr. Williams. How you doing? So my name is Danielle Harris. I'm the secretary of the SGA and also the vice president of the Phi Theta Kappa Honor Society on Rockville. And my question for you is, so myself and recently a lot of my friends, they've registered for classes this semester, and specifically because they saw through Rate My Professor that the teacher was very well, and it was a very copacetic teaching method that they could learn from. But either for some reason a teacher couldn't teach that class anymore and a new professor was actually filled in for them, but no student was informed on the new teacher being their new professor. So my question is there some way through the college where they can actually inform students on if a class is no longer a class or if a teacher is filling in? Because sometimes they could be a perfect professor or even a professor that's been recommended from previous professors that they can't have that professor anymore, and that actually kind of impacts their academic success within that class.
Yeah. Yes. Thank you very much, Donnell. And I appreciate your hat wall. And two, you have all these kind of certifications going on, diplomas. I don't know, you've been busy, so that's awesome. Congratulations. I don't know I can't read what they're for, but congratulations to you. Thank you for the question. I think we all as educators, as lifelong learners, as individuals engaged, know there's learning styles, right? And being engaged in different disciplines, and some things that are like, wow, I really gravitate towards that subject, and other things like, I need an immense amount of support in a different way. And so I definitely, what you're sharing resonates in terms of really wanting to ensure that the learning and development environment is conducive for everyone involved. In terms of kind of, it almost seems like a class cancellation, course cancellation situation, in the process of that. So I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Fector to talk a little bit more about that. So Dr. Fector, would you please share?
Sure, I'd be happy to. Thank you, Danielle, for that question. It's really important, and I appreciate what Dr. Williams has said about learning styles and fit with teaching and learning. In terms of class cancellations and those kinds of changes, the deans and the chairs do reach out to the students currently on the roster. So for that piece, I think we're covered. But I think for the other piece, I'm going to ask my academic leadership team to look into a way in which we can systematize the same kind of outreach when there has been a change of instructor. That's not systematized right now, so you're right about that. The way we have the other in place, but I will bring that to my team, and I thank you for that question and suggestion, because I think it's a really good one and would be really student-centered.
Thank you, Dr. Fector, and thank you, Danielle. Thank you very much.
Thank you all. Just as a heads up, 3 p.m. is approaching. We have about 7 more minutes. If you'd like to ask a question, this is the chance. We have another question that came in through the chat from Eva Wicks. Is there financial aid help for students who were in foster care?
Financial aid help for students in foster care. Thank you for the question. And I do think Dr. Gregory is still with us. I only have a few boxes up here, so I'm going to turn it over to her, and I'm going to take a huge leap on something, because I love learning, and even when I'm incorrect, I'm learning something. But I do believe in my past 18 plus months, I ran across legislation that indicates individuals, and there's probably parameters around this, who are able to establish that they were in foster care are actually receive free tuition or discount. Dr. Gregory, redirect me, please.
Thank you, Dr. Williams. You got it right. Yes, the state of Maryland directs the college to provide a waiver of tuition. I think it's tuition and fees to students who've been in foster care up to a certain age, even if you're not in foster care now. So what I would direct you to do is, it's handled through the scholarship office, which is an arm of the financial aid office, and you should email or contact the scholarship office. It's located on the Rockville campus. So if you're on one of the other campuses, you can email them to find out if you meet the criteria. You do have to complete the free application for federal student aid. That's one of the state's requirements, and maybe the student has already done that. When you go through the process, it's possible you would get free tuition for a certain amount of time. It's not just for the year, it could be for years, but there's a number of criteria we have to check. So yeah, that is a possibility. And thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Dr.
you both.
Gregory.
All right, with 5 minutes remaining, we have another question. So this might be depending on how it goes with time, but from Fizzy Halim, go ahead.
Hi, good afternoon. Thank you very much. So my position is business outreach, basically business solutions manager for WDCE. And one of the things that I have been dealing with is trying to help the business community understand the concept of contract training and the ability for them to be able to use Montgomery College as a training resource. And so I appreciate the person who you mentioned in the very beginning of people not understanding what Montgomery College has to offer many times, because I've encountered the same thing within the business community. And I'm just wondering, may I give a shout out to Dr. Kinamui, because the whole thing that he's created with having the Nobel laureate speaking engagement is just, oh my gosh, I was so excited to see that, because that's the kind of visibility. That's what Montgomery College needs and deserves, because we have so many really smart people. We are in the middle of one of the largest concentrations of federal laboratories in the entire world, and everything that's available to us. Dr. Williams, is there any way that people can know even more that what we offer is incredible facilities, the ability for them to come to a 500, seat engagement, a theater, to see things? How can we continue to do what we're doing, but even on a grander scale? And as well, we have a 1.9% unemployment rate. So I'm switching gears here, but the ability for us to be able to continue to attract new people and new students means that they're looking for a job. And so that's one of the elements that, because of the visibility, yes, this is terrific. We need that, but we also need to help the students who are coming to us, particularly those who are job seeking, know what it is that we can do to help them on the other end. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for sharing so very much. And thank you for your work as business solutions in WDCE. And absolutely, I think, getting Montgomery College out there in new and different ways, and really building on the impactful mechanisms that we currently have is definitely something that we need to do. Absolutely. So thank you very much. And I think it's 2:58, and I want to be mindful of time. I want to take a moment to thank you very much, Vanessa Zambrano, for moderating this first virtual town hall of the academic year. It has been great to be here with everyone. So thankful of your contribution and to the college, your dedication, your passion, everything that we are doing as a community to be the community's college, as we've just celebrated not too long ago our 77th birthday. And as we future-proof our great institution by building on our successes and identifying new successes to ensure that we will be here for another 77 plus years. I look forward to and continuing to endeavor in this fantastic work with all of you. I so deeply appreciate all of you and everything you do to help move the college forward and the communities that we support. So on that note, thank you again. Have a beautiful remainder of your Tuesday, and I look forward to seeing everyone soon.
Bye, everyone. Take care. Thank you, Dr. Williams.
Thank you.